your first step for your Bright Wishes assignment is to just roughly do a sketch. So using your handouts that you have, I want you to choose your vintage light bulb shape, and I want you to either mimic the socket types that are at the top of these bulbs, or I want you to create your own. You have some bulbs also on the back. Just remember, we want to lean more towards a vintage bulb. And so I just want you to come up with a sketch. I want you to decide how you want to place them on your paper. I want you to decide which of your bulbs you want, just so that you can see what we're doing. I just kind of want you to have a plan, because this is going to go on black paper, and they're going to be placed in different positions on your paper. And so I just kind of want you to get a sketch going so you'll know what's going to go where. And then I want you to work with the rope as well. You also have a handout for ropes or for the chain, and I want you just to practice that and get that set up. So then when we move to the next step of actually getting those drawn and cut out, then you won't be struggling. So you can borrow any of the stuff that you see here. You can make it up. I am not concerned about symmetry. I don't expect it to be perfection at this point. I just want you to have an idea of what's going to go where, because you're going to be doing, I want you to have 3 bulbs, and then you'll see that the sockets, and we're going to be doing a mixed media. So you'll have some chalk, some colored pencil, and some actual metal that we're going to be using. So if you want to start, you can start with the socket at the top of your bulb and just decide what you want that to look like, how you want that to go. And your shapes really need to stack. For example, if you do one that perhaps looks like that, maybe it comes in a little bit more narrow. And then think about what kind of designs or patterns that you might want on it, so that when we go to engrave into our metal, you'll be able to know a little ahead of a time what you're doing. And then decide what kind of shape you want for that bulb, just to give you an idea and get you to practice. Again, this isn't about you having a perfect design. This isn't about you having an even exactly the same on your shapes. And to decide which ones are going to go low, which ones are going to go high. And then I want you to get that sketched out just to have a plan. Think vintage, think old. And then decide how that socket's going to fit on that bulb. Is it going to cover the whole bulb like the whole bulb like I did in this area here, which now I can't, I think I need to bring this out just a little bit, but that's what I want you to decide. And I want you to do 3 bulbs, because that's how many you're going to be creating to put on your black paper. Once you get those bulbs set up, then I want you to decide on rope or chain for your design. And that is also available handouts that you have. So you'll have access to those. Now, if you're drawing a chain, and I'll do that because that'll be one of the toughest ones. Let's say that you're going to start here because you have your ring. So you'll have overlapping. And so we're going to have to draw that as the way we see it. And we want to practice, because on construction paper, it's a little more difficult to do because you can't erase it. So you want to take your time planning that out. And then again, you can just copy what you see on your handouts. And then that's going to go, because we want these to appear as if they're hanging. We want them to appear as if they're glowing and as if they're actually turned on, plugged in. So as you see, I'm just roughly sketching this out. I'm not trying to make it completely perfect. I'm just trying to practice that. Okay. Now, if you're doing rope, that's pretty simple, or just a wire that you see here. So all I'm doing is copying off of this one. You could do a simple chain design here. This one's just bigger. And then the rope is just doing your parallel line, looping it around, and then doing that parallel line as you come back. And then if you add a few little curved lines, it creates the illusion that you actually have rope or that wire that's dangling down. This would go all the way to the top up here. So I'm just going to quickly sketch that on just to take up, so I don't take up too much of your time. And then correct that later. And then are you doing the same thing on both? I had to look because I don't like that at all. And that's why we're just going to practice and sketch. You can do chains on both of them. You can do ropes on all three of them. It's up to you. Sketch 3 different light bulbs. I want to see 3 totally different shapes. That creates your variety. Then I want you to decide on your socket. I want you to decide on the designs on that socket. And then I want you to decide what is it going to hang from. Is it chain or rope? What that is, and draw that on there. So we're going to make a plan for our sketch before we go to the next step, which is creating our small light bulb shapes that we're going to be then using as patterns and templates to trace onto our construction paper.